Chiş Persimmons. About 1270 A.D., a Chinese man named Fa Qiang, became a Zen monk and got the name Mu Chi, and became very famous in South China and Japan later for his paintings, famous for especially tigers and dragons on a very large scale paintings, but also, and even today, still highly admired in some quarters for his small, this size, paintings of vegetables and fruits. Most of them are now in Japanese collections from that time, from the 13th century. November 1242. On a back wall down my hall, lit by a side glass door, is the scroll of Mu Chi's great Sumi painting, Persimmons. The wind weights hanging from the axles hold it still. The best painting in the world, I tell people, of persimmons. A perfect statement of emptiness, no other than form. The twig and the stalk still on, the way they sell them in the market even now. The original is in Kyoto at a lovely Rinzai temple where they show it one day a year. This one is a perfect copy from Benrido printers. I chose the mounting elements myself with the advice of the mounter. I hang it every fall. And now, to these overripe persimmons that Mike and Barbara's orchard gave me, napkin in hand, I bend over the sink, suck the sweet orange goop. That's how I like it, gripping a little twig. Those painted persimmons sure cure hunger. Why California will never be like Tuscany. There must have been huge oaks and pines, cedars, maybe madrone, in Tuscany and Umbria long ago. A few centuries after wood was gone, they began to build with stone. Brick and stone farmhouses, solid, fireproof, steel shutters and doors. But farming changed. 60,000 vacant, solid, fireproof Italian farmhouses were on the market in 1970, scattered across the land. 60,000 affluent foreigners to fix them, learn to cook, and write a book. But in California, houses are all wood. Roads pushed through, sewers dug, lines laid underground, hundreds of thousands made of strand board, sheetrock, plaster. They won't be here 200 years from now. They'll burn or they'll rot. No, handsome, solid second homes for 1,000-year later wealthy Melanesians or Inuits, bohemian artists and writers here. The oak and pine will soon return. Here's what it's kind of like what we used to call New York poems. Frank O'Hara, the signature New York poet, who wrote these wonderful downtown, as somebody said, I do this and then I do that and then I went there and then I went somewhere else poems. So this is a rural Chiura, a rural Frank O'Hara poem, which I call Chiura, Obata's Moon. Chiura Obata was a Japanese immigrant who became a citizen and an artist and a successful artist in Northern California in the 20s and 30s, and right after the war, too. Walking along the busy North Lake Tahoe shoreline highway, 7 p.m., early October, dusk, rickety houses, old motels. On the lakeshore side of the street, a plastic orange fencing keeping out those who would try to get to the beach while they're building some whole new set of structures for the tourists. My stuff is at the Firelight Lodge, cramped for space and built around a pool that's empty. The clerk, a slender blonde with an accent, Polish, she says, but she's been here for years. She plans to stay. She's pretty. She knows the life of youth in the water and snow world of Lake Tahoe. And then come on in, says a sign, Sancho's Tacos, a tiny storefront in a house. Off to the southwest, the planet Venus, really bright. Sky so clear and purple, violet tonight. 2 pine tree trunks and that early crescent moon. The silhouetted ponderosa pine, mature and tall. And I make my way into Sancho's. I hadn't planned to, but it's got a menu with more than tacos. 3 youthful outdoor-clad enthusiasts just back from some ridgetop hike are laughing and drinking in the corner. Sancho is an Anglo with a little beard and a sardonic smile. I decide to go for the dinner. A whole cooked tilapia. Never saw that on a Mexican menu before. Shades of Jack and Nancy Todd's experiments up on Cape Cod. Some article they wrote 40 years ago on the freshwater fish tilapia, member of the minnow family, started from Africa. You could raise it in a tub. The fish that we thought just might help us back to the landers get virtuous protein and maybe feed the world as well. Looking south toward the darkening lake and the murmur of trail gossip just at my back, it's the right place to be. The tilapia, rice, and beans dinner comes hot, and it's good. Outside on the deck, the moon and Venus have shifted, and I see Chiura Obata's woodblock of dusk at Yosemite, dated 1930. The soaring blue cliff, the pines, the new moon. I'm going to finish with this. It's called A Letter to M.A., who lives far away. Quite a few years ago, I knew this family, and they had 2 daughters. They passed through our neighborhood and visited with us a few times, and then moved on to Quadra Island in British Columbia, where they still are. And the daughter Melissa and I talked about poetry and poetics and writing, and she wrote me a letter a few years later when she was about 13. She must be about 35 now. And since the letter was all in rhyme, I answered back in my own way to her rhyming. So this is the letter to M.A., who lives far away. Dear Melissa, I do remember you. You had curly hair and stood by the stair up there on Quadra Isle with a shy smile. Say hello to your mother, Jean. I don't remember your sister's name, and that's a shame. But I sort of remember her face and natural grace. Not all poetry has to rhyme, but this time I'm writing back the way you did it. It's to your credit. You got me to write this form, since real poetry is born from a formless place, which is our original face, Buddhist teachers say in play. So if this helps you be a writer, it will please your new friend, Gary Snyder. Thank you all, and thanks everybody for this whole 4-day time. Workers, visionaries, all levels of competition, thank you.